last episode in Clockwork Empires. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my monthly look at Clockwork Empires. The game has just hit Alpha 50, and the headlining new addition to the game is Biomes. Why are Biomes a big deal? And I assure you they are. Well, let me tell you. Now this is going to require a quick detour through a discussion on map generation, so buckle up, I promise I'll keep it short. Those of you familiar with Clockwork Empires will know that the game gives you an option to generate a new map every time you start a game. This, in turn, generates a map file which is used on your embarkation screen. Up until recently, this had no real relevance to the game. However, with the introduction of the implementation of the biome system, this is now of vital importance and affects your embarkation. The starting location you pick determines which biomes are present in your game. How is a map generated? Well, every time you click that Create New World button, the game creates a height map in the form of a PNG file. Some smoothing happens behind the scenes so that different heights transition into each other logically. Each time you do this, you get something like this, or this, or that. You get the idea. So that's all well and good. We've got a map, but how does that turn into playable biomes? Well, to explain that, I'm going to have to refer you to this chart. So this is a chart published by the developers on their weekly game progress blog. Now you'll notice this graph has two axes. The up and down axis being moisture, and the bottom axis being temperature. And all biomes are represented as areas on this map. For instance, the tundra, it's very cold and very dry, coordinates 8-8. The tropical swamp, it's very hot and very wet. And in between you have basically all the biomes that can exist in the game. Now at this point, it's important to note that height on the height map does not actually represent altitude, that is distance above sea level, but rather coordinate points on the biome graph. Because those heights transition smoothly with one another, the biomes also transition smoothly with one another. And you will never get, for instance, a desert directly neighboring a tundra without a bit of steppe in between. And you'll never get a desert beside a tropical swamp. So back to the embarkation screen. You click a pip, that determines your starting location, and your starting location determines which biomes are present in your game. And that's it for map generation, I promise. I've been using the word biome a lot. Let's take a look at what that means. The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines a biome as a major ecological community type, for example, a tropical rainforest, grassland, or desert. I imagine most of you will already be familiar with the way biomes are generally implemented in video games. You get chickens and butterflies in the sunny grasslands, and you get fireballs and rock monsters in the lava world. Clockwork Empires has 12 biomes. Refer back to the start of this video for a refresher. The Gaslamp game devs have already implemented most of the attendant flora and fauna in their respective biomes. So dodos will tend to be found on the plains, you'll get giant horsetail plants in the swamps, you get dwarf junipers in the tundra, and you'll get jungle fowl, you can probably guess where. There are also regional variants of familiar animals. For instance, there's a snow fox and a desert fox, a woolly aurochs, and a variety of tortoises and beetles that depend on the climate. Your biome also determines what plants grow naturally and which plants you're able to cultivate in a given area. For instance, the tundra does not support a lot of trees and also cannot grow bamboo, which means if you choose to build a colony there, you're going to have great difficulty finding building materials and may have to trade for supplies. I'm not going to read you a comprehensive list of every plant that grows in every location, but several new ones have been added. The agave plant, the prickly pear, the grapevine, tea and coffee plants. They can be found growing in the wild, some can be cultivated, and most of them can be turned into food, or more importantly, various types of booze. Laudanum is made from opium, wheat turns into beer and whiskey, moonshine and chicha is made from corn, pulque and mezcal are both made from agave, and so on. Another important characteristic of biomes is that each biome has a particular profile for the distribution of mineral wealth. You're not going to find a lot of rock or hematite in the jungle, for instance. So all of this taken together means that your starting location determines what you have to work with and consequently your playstyle. As a side note, every single biome falls into one of 4 climate categories: cold, desert, temperate, and tropical. And each of those super categories determines the flora and fauna present. So a quick recap here before I wrap up biome talk. Why are biomes a big deal? Well, they introduce visual variety into the game and also gameplay variety. You will play differently depending on your location. You'll also be able to arbitrarily influence the difficulty of your game. If you want fewer fishmen, try building in the tundra. If you want more wood, try building in the jungle. Even better, these difficulties are an emergent implication of the factors that go into your location rather than some kind of artificial constraint or a button you press at the beginning of the game to select easy, medium, or hard. To wrap it all up in a bow then, what do biomes mean for the game? Well, increased depth, breadth, variety, and for all those reasons I would suggest also replayability. Man, that's enough about biomes, right? We now return you to your regularly scheduled program. So here I am, playing through Alpha 50. This, because it's become important to mention, this is a colony set in the tropical jungle/swamp biome. Phoebe Tack is researching her family tree. What's the worst that could happen? So we look at this colony. It's got 30 people, and I'm on day 16, which is doing reasonably well. But I've had some major setbacks, as you can see by my overflowing graveyard. And it's not just colonists, it's been multiple waves of bandits. Actually, if we take a look at my stores, I've got a ton of guns. And considering I didn't start with the military loadout, I just started with the basic default loadout this time. These are all guns I've recovered from attacking bandits. I also lost a whole bunch of colonists, so there's that. Another thing that has been affecting my colony's growth has been a new feature. Buildings are now destructible. Buildings are no longer indestructible barricades. What's this? Merchants have arrived. Oh, good. And that's very good because I'm completely out of stone. This is the jungle map. Where are those merchants? Oh. Okay, lots of things to mention. First of all, there's a script error. So as you can see, not every bug has been ironed out. But the reason I bring up new things is, oh no, my merchants. No, I need your supply. Oh, okay, everything's fine. If we look in the top right here, we can see the mini-map has finally been implemented in-game. We can see the merchants are wandering toward my settlement from the bottom left. Now, it doesn't rotate with the camera, so I'm still kind of not sure. And you also can't click on the mini-map to zoom around. So it's not as functional as I would personally like it to be, but it's in there. It's a good start. The empty frame of the minimap has been taunting me since earliest access, way back in Alpha 27 or what it was, a year and a half ago. So minimap is here. The reason I'm happy the merchants have arrived, again, is because I'm in the jungle and I'm running very short on stone, and I have yet to find any sources of hematite. My colony development is stalled because those are 2 vital resources. So I'm hoping when the merchants arrive, I'll be able to trade stuff. Actually, unfortunately, I don't think I have a lot of stuff to trade. Yeah, anyway, new stuff in Alpha 50. In addition to all of the biome stuff, buildings are destructible now. And what that's meant is that under the successive waves of invading bandits, I've had to rebuild my carpentry twice and my kitchen once because bandits destroyed the buildings. So if we take a look at the naturalist office, for instance, buildings now have hit points. When they reach 0 hit points, the building and all its contents are destroyed, which includes your expensive modules. This is disastrous if it's a vital building like your carpentry or in particular the kitchen. Actually, the kitchen's not too bad because people can get by on eating raw corn, I guess, for a while, but they won't be happy about it. And for that reason, I'm actually building a wall. It's now important to build a wall that surrounds your colony. Other new stuff. Again, as I covered in the biome section, there are a bunch of new crops and a bunch of new products that can be made from those crops. But the neatest one is probably the strange meteor event. Now, I'm not spoiling anything by saying that it's in the game because it was actually the title of the previous experimental release just before this release to the stable branch. It was called Strange Meteors and Minimaps. Now, I haven't managed to catch any strange meteor events in my playthroughs. However, I'm going to show you here some pictures uploaded to the official Gaslamp Games forums by forumite Unforked. He took several blurry photos of alien vegetation that had come out of a meteor crater. It causes strange memories amongst your colonists, and who knows what it means. So that's what they mean when they say the stars are wrong. Other little things that have been added to the game. Vicars have additional functionality now. They can actually bless corpses, and in doing so, they will prevent or lower the probability of specters haunting your colonists and driving them crazy. Minor tweaks to food. Eating food, good food, makes your colonists a little bit happier, and they will tolerate being hungry longer before they eat raw food, which will hopefully stave off the starvation spiral that afflicts some colonies, where as soon as food is grown, your ravenous colonists will eat it all, and then it doesn't get cooked, which means they don't get the benefit of cooked food. So hopefully they'll hold off a little bit longer. Minor changes to the farming tech tree. Some techs now have prerequisites, so they're not all just research them as you get them. Some require you to have researched other things previously. My traders are here. Where are they going? Did they... No? Okay. I don't know what happened. The traders made it all the way here, but all the stuff they were holding disappeared, and now they're not trading it with me. I'm disappointed. I needed that. I needed those resources. Yeah. Other minor changes to the UI. Well, yeah, what was I going to say? Some of the events that used to appear as gigantic windows in the middle of your screen now appear as icons on the left edge instead, so they take up less space. Developers are looking into whether or not that's conducive to play, because they're kind of easy to overlook if they're tiny icons, but they cover up the whole screen if they're big icon or if they're the big window. So if you have feedback in that regard, I'm sure the developers would love to hear from you. And that's about it. I mean, that's how this colony has been going. Destructible buildings is a really big deal. It's going to influence the way I play personally pretty significantly. And of course, all the biome stuff. I'm looking forward to exploring that. Yeah, this is Alpha 50. So the game's been in early access now, over a year, and it was in development for a considerable amount of time before that. The game has quite recently become much broader and deeper. I think it's going in a good location, and I just got 3 immigrants. And if you stuck with me this whole way, then I thank you for your interest, and I hope you've been entertained by these videos. So this is so I do an episode 1 with every stable branch release, of which this is one. And then I generally follow with a few episodes of playing through, which I would love to do. But in this situation, my update schedule is going to be very erratic because, on a personal note, I'm moving houses and may be without internet and also electricity for some time. So I'll get to the Let's Play when I get to it. But in the meantime, thanks for your interest. The game is Clockwork Empires. My name is Alfred. The game is available for purchase on Steam, through the Humble Store and I believe also on the Gaslamp Games website. If any of this at all, if this sort of game interests you, consider looking into it. It's a lot of fun. And if you're able to offer feedback, you can let the developers know what's working for you and what isn't, right? And they're very responsive. So you can help shape a game that you might enjoy. Thanks very much for watching. I will see you when I have electricity again. Until then, stay safe.